Hi, welcome to this impromptu episode of Getting Real about Self-Care. If we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Sheetal Jmani. I'm a pediatrician, best-selling author, Ayurveda lifestyle consultant, and yoga instructor. And today I want to share with you my top 3 tips for practicing self-care when life throws you for a loop. So Oxford Dictionary defines self-care as playing an active role in promoting one's own well-being and happiness, particularly during times of stress. So that last part really caught my attention, particularly during times of stress. That's why you practice self-care, right? So that it becomes a habit, so that it becomes a routine, and so that it's there when you need it, so that it's there in those moments when life gets really tough or overwhelming, or when life throws you for a loop, when life throws you in one of those unexpected situations that can make you question which way is up anymore, right? And that happens to all of us. It could come in different shapes and forms, such as the loss of a loved one, changing jobs, moving, the birth of a child, getting married. Any of those things can kind of throw you off center and make you feel a little bit ungrounded. So in those moments of either overwhelm or major life transition, how do you practice self-care? So that's where these 3 tips come in. My first tip is to start practicing self-care before the major crisis or moment of overwhelm even occurs. So if you are in the luxury right now to not be in one of those moments of overwhelm or one of those moments of life crisis, I want you to start practicing self-care today. Because what happens is that it becomes a habit. If you start practicing self-care, if you make it a priority when things are going well and when things are going smoothly, then it's already part of your daily routine. And so then when that stressful situation arises in your life, it's not like you're adding in anything new, any other new acts of self-care when you're already in this state of overwhelm. You're just continuing habits and routines that you've already been doing. So I'll give you an example. I've been meditating daily for the past 9 years. And I started out small. I started out just meditating 5 minutes a day. And now I easily do at least 20 to 30 minutes every morning, sometimes more, and sometimes even more during other times of the day. But the point is that my daily morning meditation has been such a part of my routine over the past 9 years that no matter what happens in life, no matter what life throws at me, I still have that consistent daily practice of meditation that I can count on because it's already part of my routine. It's already part of my habits. So number 1 tip is to start practicing self-care today. Now you might be asking, but I'm already in the middle of this overwhelm. I'm already in the middle of this huge life situation. What do I do now? So that's where tip number 2 comes in handy. Tip number 2 is to give yourself credit for what you're already doing. So chances are that you're already practicing self-care and you don't even realize it. I gave a Toastmasters speech a couple months ago and I posted it here on my Facebook page maybe a few weeks ago. And it was about how brushing your teeth could be one of the greatest acts of self-care that you do and how it affects your body, mind, and spirit. I'll include a link to that below in case you missed it. But the whole idea was that you're probably practicing self-care every day and you don't even realize it. Did you take a shower today? Did you brush your teeth? Are you making sure that you're getting in 3 meals a day? Are you hydrating? All of these are acts of self-care. I mean, so often we think that practicing self-care has to be something big, like taking out, an hour and a half of your time each day to go to a yoga class or a meditation class. And yes, those are acts of self-care. And yes, I encourage those if you have the time to do so. But often when you're in the middle of some of those major life situations where your life feels like it's in a bit of a upheaval, it's hard to find that time. So I want you to notice and give yourself credit for what you're already doing for self-care. Because what happens is if you notice and appreciate what you're already doing for self-care, self-care, one, it's going to make you feel good. It's going to give you a boost. It's going to give you a boost in your confidence, a boost in your self-esteem, you know, when you're already in this kind of stressful situation. And then secondly, success builds upon success. So if you are noticing and appreciating and giving yourself credit for the good things that you're already doing for your body, mind, and spirit, your mind will naturally start to seek out more ways to practice self-care for yourself. So tip number two is to give yourself credit for what you're already doing for self-care. Tip number 3 is to reach out to family, friends, or community members. So often when you're faced with a really difficult situation, it can be so easy to want to just put the blinders on, put your head down, and just get through it, right? But I encourage you not to do that. I encourage you to look around you, to reach out for help, to reach out to family, friends, community members for help. And I know asking for help can be so hard, especially, I know that's a hard one for me, and I'm sure for many of my colleagues, if you're listening, you know, in the medical or a field of, you know, in the medical field or a coaching field, where we spend so much time wanting to help others that asking for help ourselves can often feel very difficult. But I encourage you to do so, because the thing is, when you start to share with others what you're going through, one, it broadens your perspectives, because you might get some ideas that can help you in your situation that you wouldn't have thought of just on your own. Second, you never know when someone else may have gone through something similar as what you're going through right now, or they may have not gotten through it themselves, but they may know someone else who has. And so you can feel a lot less alone. You can get more support in that way. There's a couple mantras I've been saying most of this year, which has been, no man is an island and it takes a village. And just saying those couple of mantras to myself every day has really reminded me to reach out to others for support and to support them, and to really make an effort to be more involved in community. And so, because it really does take a village. So those are my 3 tips for you, my 3 tips for practicing self-care when life throws you for a loop. So just to recap, number 1 is to practice self-care before the crisis hits. Number 2, give yourself credit for what you're already doing. And number 3, reach out to others for support. So now I want to hear from you. What did you think of those 3 tips? Are these things that you've practiced in your own life before? And are there any tips that I didn't mention that you have found really helpful that you'd like to share with the community? If so, please leave a comment below. Thank you for listening. Sending you so much love.